born and raised in Philadelphia, in Mount Airy. Went to Central High School, class of 231. Went to college at what's now Philadelphia University. Studied business and finance, and went to Delaware Law School for my law degree, my JD. Worked on the Reading, what was then the Reading Railroad, where I worked in the freight yards. I was a janitor. Anybody knows me knows I served a stint as a janitor to work my way through college and law school. And then began practicing commercial law, business litigation, represented banks and financial institutions for a period of time, companies, and did all sorts of business disputes. And then probably 20 years ago started to migrate towards consumer law. And over the last number of years, represent only consumers in their cases against the banks, the credit unions, the repossession outfits, and the credit bureaus. And it's much more fulfilling. And it's much more gratifying to represent the little guy and represent the person that's been ripped off or been swindled or can't get a job or can't get a loan because there's something that's wrong in their credit report. It's very gratifying. So I was asked how I got interested in consumer law. And I was a very young lawyer, and I was at a continuing education program. Lawyers have to take, every lawyer in just about every state has to take continuing education courses every year. And I was at a program, and they were talking about some of these consumer laws that were on the books. Truth in Lending, that governs consumer loan disclosures, and the Leasing Act, and Door-to-Door Sales Act. And these were not popularly discussed. They were kind of obscure, and I couldn't believe how many laws were on the books that nobody was honoring. These businesses, whether they did door-to-door sales or sold home improvements or were making different car loans, timeshares, none of them were paying any attention to the consumer laws that were on the books. So I was just really surprised at the lack of enforcement, and I thought, this is something I really want to do. So these laws all have provisions that say that if you represent the consumer and you prevail, then the bank or the credit union or the repo agency has to pay the consumer's legal bill. So that enabled me to get involved. It enables consumers to hire experienced lawyers to represent their interests. So that was 1985, and I've been representing consumers, crusading for consumers ever since. I like to teach and have faculty appointments at the Delaware Law School and at Temple Law School in Philadelphia. And sometimes I'm asked to guest lecture and travel around the country to other law schools, Harvard Law School, Penn Law School, University of Maryland, and that's a lot of fun. Andy and I like to write, so we write, I don't know if you've seen the books, but we help to co-author the books on Pennsylvania consumer law and on consumer class actions. That applies in all 50 states. It's a little bit about me, Cary Flitter, your basic Philly guy.